Paul, Steven, congratulations. You're both one step closer to the title of Forged in Fire champion and a check for 10 grand. All that you need to do now is go home and recreate an iconic weapon from history. That weapon is the Nambi Nulu. Good luck, bladesmiths. We'll see you in 5 days.
I want to get going. My shop is, I often refer to as a hobbit hole. This is a fire-breathing spider that will eat you alive. I make weird stuff, and this is really weird. If that doesn't lop off a head, I don't know what will. This blade is a really difficult one to shave because there's a lot of curvature. To get a blade like this to balance, I've got to do a lot of hammer work, and I've got to be really careful not to cancel out everything I do on each hammer stroke.
My competition is Steven, who's a great young smith. He doesn't have the kind of experience that I do, but none of us have any experience making a Nambi Nulu, so it's going to be a tough race. I'm deciding to use a leaf spring. The Nagambe used salvaged materials that already had holes or shapes cut in it and form their pieces around them. I'm going to drop a drift right down that hole and just see if I can get the hole to open up. I'm going to try to achieve good balance with this blade. It's a really unusual shape so that it feels good in the hand and that it will swing nicely.
No, I'm feeling the pressure because I know that I have a lot to do today. Propane, I need to heat this sucker up. Time to heat treat. This is a really critical point in this process. There's a lot that could go wrong. If the blade's gonna fail, I will know very quickly after it's hardened. There is a warp. It's in the main section of the blade. If I try to straighten it and it cracks, I'm in trouble. Oh.
Today, I'm gonna have to heat treat. I'll pretty much have to widen the whole top. I hate to take the time to carve up my heat treat furnace, but I really don't have any other options at this point. I'm feeling pretty nervous right now. There's a lot that could go wrong. I could get a really bad warp, or the blade could fail to harden and I'd have to start the process over again. Man, I hope that that's not like an omen right there. Oh, hell, I'm gonna go for it. That's good. It doesn't look any worse than it did when I put it in. That is such a huge relief.
Today is the day that everything has to be done. Yesterday, I was able to get all of the warp out in the temper. That was a relief. I am putting the handle on right now. I need to make sure that I don't settle for gaps and misalignment. I highly doubt I'll hit the marks that Paul will hit just because he has so much more experience with fit and finish. And so stakes are much higher. So this epoxy works very fast, and I'm becoming very aware of the closing window of time I have here to get everything assembled. Oh, I cracked the last piece in the handle.
A mistake has been made. There's no going back.
I have just enough African blackwood to replace my last piece on my handle. At this point, time is really precious.
When I make knives, I try and pay attention to the small details. I'll take the nickname Captain Meticulous. The first thing I'm getting at this morning are the globes that are a required element on the end of the handle. The globes could be thought of as a really large pommel. They're using wood instead of metal as a counterweight. That'll make it really accurate to the Nagambe Nulu. Got scales cut. I made a weighted pommel nut to put on to the very end so that I can dial in the balance. I'm adding a leather spacer, which will act like a cushion. This will all dampen vibration like a shock absorber. The last detail is doing the leather handle wrap. It's gonna be a great grip. So this is a 1-inch thick manila rope. It's a standard test for a lot of knife edge stuff. The worst case scenario would be to find out that my edge doesn't hold up. Go about like that, something like that. Could send me home. And here we go. And that is a pass.
Bladesmiths, welcome back to the Forge. You've had 5 days at your home forges to work on your finale weapons. You know what's next, the weapons test. Dave?
Gentlemen, this is the sharpness test. To test the sharpness of your blades, I'll be cutting into our cane man here. Paul, you ready?
Yes, I feel good. I know that the geometry behind my edge is thin and convex, so it should cut through the cane very well.
This is what I love to see come back in the third round. This feels like a weapon. It cuts like a weapon. It went right through that cane. You nailed it.
Thank you.
All right, Stephen, you ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Dave is clearly excited about Paul's blade, which is great for Paul. I'm a little worried because I want to be excited on my blade too, but we'll see.
Your weapon, same weapon, different feel. It's a different weight, it's a different balance, but the cuts, you can see it just passed right through. There wasn't any resistance on that cane. Nicely done.
That felt really good to hear. Never expected to make it this far based on how round one went. And it just feels good to have made something that's effective.
Gentlemen, to test the strength and durability of your blades, I'm going to chop into these clay pots. This is not about what your blades do to the pots, but what these pots can do to your blades. Paul, you're up first.
Hitting something as hard as a clay pot, I don't have any idea what it's going to do to my edge.
That's pretty cool.
The balance is really nice on this. It's heavy where it needs to be heavy. When you're swinging it, you know where it's going. Right? There's a slight roll on the edge of your blade right here that I can get a fingernail on that. Everything down at the handle and the guard are still tight. Yeah, other than that one roll, seems to have held up well. All right, Stephen, it's your turn. You ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Nice and straight. I don't really see anything out of alignment. Your blade's a little bit heavier than Paul's, but it's got a good feel. It's got a good balance. The wood you've got in the handle and the extension of this handle has put the balance in a really nice place.
Cool.
Yeah, I can't feel any deformation on the edge. Well done.
Thank you.
Next up, the kill test. Doug?
I know what the weapon was used for, and I'm starting to wonder pretty hardcore what we're about to do to these dummies.
Bladesmiths, this is the kill test. The Nambinulu wasn't just a weapon used by tribal chiefs to show status. It was also known as the beheading sword of the Congo. So to see what kind of lethal damage your weapon will do, I will take your Nambinulu and I'll deliver lethal slashes on this ballistics dummy.
Oh my God. That was badass.
All right, Paul, let's talk about your Nambinulu. It feels good in the hand. It's got a razor's edge here that, upon its initial delivery into the gut, that dug in deep, all the way into the bowel.
Yeah.
Now, for its intended purpose of going up to decapitate the head, well, come on, it's got no head, it's dead. Your weapon will kill.
Thank you.
All right, Stephen, it's your turn. You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, Stephen, your blade is sharp. It lacerated all the way into the bowels. You can see that cut through the jaw and all the way through the head. The wood that you have here, it's smooth, but it's the index here that you have for that. The way you have it flattened out and avoid that feels good in the hand.
Yes, sir.
And it will kill.
Thanks.
Paul, Stephen, the judge's deliberation is complete. The Forged in Fire champion is... Stephen, congratulations. You are the Forged in Fire champion. Paul, thank you very much for turning in such a beautiful weapon, but now I have to ask you to surrender it. And please leave the forge.
I certainly accept the judge's decision. First thing I'm going to do when I get home is clean my shop and get on with what I usually make.
Stephen, congratulations. You are the Forged in Fire champion and will be receiving a check for 10 grand. How do you feel?
I feel great. It's a little surreal. I damn well proved what I came here to prove. I am creative and that I can make a functional weapon and that you don't have to be the most experienced. If you put your heart into stuff, things, can turn out well. It was fun as hell and I'm glad that I came out on top.
Lyle, Matt, congratulations. You've made it to the final round of this competition. When you showed up here, you used our forge and our equipment to forge bayonets. Now we're sending you back to your home forges to recreate an iconic blade from history. The Zulu Ikwa.
All right.
That's cool.
The Zulu Ikwa was introduced by the famous Zulu king, Shaka. He reigned over the Zulu Empire's expansion through southern Africa from 1816 to 1828. A celebrated warrior in his own right, Shaka developed a number of military improvements for the Zulu, including the mandatory adoption of the Ikwa. Replacing long, light throwing spears, the Ikwa was shorter and featured a blade at least 10 inches long. The spear wasn't thrown, rather it was thrust into the enemy and would be carried along with a cowhide shield. It was a fearsome weapon utilized against British colonialists trying to expand their African colonies. The Zulu Ikwa was also wielded by Zulu warriors in the classic film Zulu. It must be an effective, fully functional version of that iconic weapon. Additionally, it must have a double-edged spearhead.
I've made spears in the past. I've even had people that wanted one to hunt with. I think I'll be able to do this very successfully.
You will have 5 days at your home forge to accomplish this task. At the end of those 5 days, you will return and present your weapons to our panel of judges, who will then subject them to a series of dynamic tests. Only once those tests are complete will they declare one of you the Forged in Fire champion, who also leaves with that check for 10 grand. Good luck, gentlemen. We'll see you in 5 days.
Good luck to you, man.
All right, man. Good luck to you, too.
It's day one, and we're at my home forge. It's got all sorts of different construction type of equipment. It's kind of the man cave, as I like to call it. All right, it's a pretty big blade. I don't have any power hammers or presses. I do everything by hand, which actually I'm really proud of. At the end of the day, I should have it pretty much mostly forged out, and I'll be pretty happy if I get at least that far today. It's looking pretty good.
It's great to be back in my own shop. I may not have all the best tools, but I can definitely get it done with everything I have here. Zulu Ikwa. That's something I've never heard of. I believe that's the sound it makes when it goes in and pulls out. Ikwa. My plan for the day is to get a point on the piece of metal, and then I'm gonna have to figure out the tang. I think I'm gonna make a one-piece tang that'll penetrate into the handle as well as lock it down with some sinew. All right.
Plan for today is to do some final forging on the blade, straighten out everything a little bit, and get this thing to heat treat.
Punching now.
Don't think it took. The file was actually digging into the blade, which means it didn't fully harden. So I know I had to go in for a second quench, which is not something that you want to do over and over and over again. Definitely feeling a lot of anxiety. It's not looking good. Knowing my opponent and how well he can forge, I'm pretty sure he might be a little bit farther ahead. I'm not sure how I'm going to get it done. The first time, heat treatment didn't take, and so I had to do a second quench with a time constraint. There's a lot that can go wrong, so I have to make sure that I do this right this time. All right. Yeah, it's just skating across. It's the birth of a South African Zulu Ikwa right there.
After a lot of thought last night, I decided I'm gonna clay the center of the Ikwa. Putting this clay on here is gonna keep the center from getting as hard. It won't cool as quick when I go in the oil, and that'll make it softer in the middle, so this will be less likely to break when it's tested. It's skating across there. I'm happy with it.
Today, I'm gonna antique it a certain way, and then we'll get a handle attached. I like a lot of contrast, so I got ferric chloride over there. That'll actually turn this particular type of steel black, and it's just gonna fade into that nice high polish. It's just gonna look really sharp. Not bad at all. Time to start doing the handle. I'm adding a leather wrap to this guy to give it better grip. I think it's gonna be nice to have something that pops a little more than just a plain old handle. Now I want to start slicing some stuff. Wow.
I'm past all the forging. I'm through with the steel work. Now it's on the toughest part for me, the handle. I'm using zebra wood, which comes from Central Africa. That's gonna make a real nice look. To wrap the blade, I'm using pig intestine, and that's gonna draw up nicely and help hold it in tight. It's tricky, and it stinks. Makes me hungry. The only thing left to do is to test it. So I'm gonna use the thickest part of the blade and see if it'll cut through in one full swing. Oh my goodness. Well, let me try it one more time. There you go.
The Ikwa was an African weapon used by the Zulu warriors. Though it's a short spear, it also acted like a sword because of its design. To see how sharp your blades are, I will take your weapon and try to cut through this slab of meat. Lyle, you're up first. You ready?
Yes, sir, I'm ready.
Well, Lyle, your handle over here allows me to grip and give it more weight at the tip. So when acting like a sword, you can really feel the power when you're dropping down. And as you can see, it cut cleanly through the meat. Overall, sir, your weapon will cut. Good job.
Thank you.
Matt, you're up next. You ready?
Let's do it. Seeing Lyle's blade cut like it did, I'm going, ah, crap. I'm so nervous right now.
Okay, Matt. A very light weapon like this, if held like a slashing sword, could be an issue when you have a rounded handle. Makes it kind of hard to index. But the important thing is, it will cut. Good job.
Thank you.
This is a kill test. The Ikwa was so deadly because up close, you could use it in different ways and maneuver the blade. To see how much lethal damage your weapon can do, I will deliver 4 killing blows on this ballistics dummy. Lyle, you're up first. You ready?
Yes, sir, I'm ready. I've never tried to cut ballistic dummies. I'm anxious to see how it performs.
Well, Lyle, your weapon here feels good in the hand. Definitely, it's easy to maneuver the blade in different ways. It's so sharp that it lacerated and disemboweled the gut right here. It cut through all the way into the sternum right there, lacerating, and then right into the heart. Your weapon, sir, will kill.
Thank you.
All right, Matt, you're next. You ready?
Let's do it.
Well, Matt, your leather wrapping on the handle here made it very comfortable. Your edge over here is very sharp. It lacerated deep into the guts. It went all the way into the ribs, the thrust deep into the abdomen. Overall, sir, your weapon will kill.
Thank you.
All right, next up is a strength test. Dave?
So, gentlemen, what we're going to do to test the strength is we're going to tap the tip of your blade into these blocks of wood and then pry them to the side. If your blades are tempered properly, they should hold up beautifully, and just pry a piece of wood out. If not, well, we'll see. So, Matt, you ready?
Let's do it. I can't believe he's actually gonna drive it in like a nail and then torque it back. I'm just like freaking out. I'm like, just don't break. Just don't break on me.
That's not your blade. It's okay.
Okay. Yes. I did it.
What I saw as I was prying this out was that blade flexed quite a bit at the tip, and then that wood gave way. It's nice. It's got just enough movement that it didn't fracture. The neck's still true here. Well done.
Thank you.
Lyle, you're up next. You ready?
Yes, sir, I'm ready. I wasn't expecting the tip to break off. My heart just fell out of its place.
And as I started to go to the side, there wasn't any flex in that blade much at all. It just popped right off.
Everything's been fun, but this looks dim for me.
The judges have made a final decision. The Forged in Fire champion is Matt. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Matt.
Thank you, Lyle.
Lyle, your blade did not make the cut. David will explain.
Lyle, you brought us a beautiful weapon. It felt great in the hand. It tested beautifully in 2 of our tests. But it came down to that strength test, that brittle tip snapping off. Because of that, we've got to let you go.
Okay.
Lyle, please surrender your weapon.
Thank you all for the opportunity. It's been a great experience.
Lyle, thank you.
Once the tip broke off, I expected this. I gave it my best shot. Congratulations.
Thank you, Lyle.
I can go home my head held high. I enjoyed it. I made something I was proud of. It was just an oversight on my part.
Matt, congratulations. You are the Forged in Fire champion and will be receiving that check for 10 grand. Good job.
Thank you.
I don't know if you realize, but I flexed that blade to at least 45 degrees before it popped that piece of wood
You
out.
scared me when you did that. I thought for
Scared
sure
me.
that This is amazing. This is really cool. I can't believe I did it. It's obviously what you're going for, but to have it happen is... Ah, that's cool.